I gave this company 11 years of my life, and in return I was labeled as a thief and a liar when erroneous logs were given preference over my integrity. I walked away and didn't look back, choosing respect and dignity over my job. The fluorescent lights of the assembly floor at Miller Automotive had been Arthur's second home for 11 years. At 62, Arthur was the steady hand in a chaotic environment, the night shift in charge who knew exactly which sensor on the robotic arms tended to glitch and how to soothe a nervous junior technician. He walked with a slight limp, a souvenir from decades on factory floors, but his work ethic remained as rigid as the steel frames he helped produce. Lately, his body had begun to negotiate terms. The diabetes diagnosis meant his schedule wasn't just about output, it was about survival. He carried a small pouch of medication and a meticulously packed lunch. On a Tuesday, the urgency of a stalled production line pushed his own needs to the periphery. In the frantic rush to leave his house, the lunchbox, his anchor for the night, sat forgotten on his kitchen counter. By 2 a.m., his blood sugar was flagging, his hands starting to tremble. He didn't want to wake his crew or ask for a favor. He was a man who took care of things himself. He approached the vending machine near the break room. He swiped his card for a $1.95 cookie. The screen flickered, a red error message pulsed, and the machine went silent, hunger gnawing at him. He limped to the second machine down the hall. He swiped again. The machine groaned, whirred, and eventually dropped the cookie. He caught it, tore it open, and began to eat as he walked back to the floor. The machine never issued a receipt, and in his weakened state, he didn't think twice about it. A week later, the call came. Arthur was summoned to HR. The atmosphere was cold, sterile, and hostile. A manager he had never spoken to laid a document on the table, accusing him of theft. They claimed the vending logs showed a transaction error and that he had walked away without paying. I swiped my card, Arthur said, his voice steady but quiet. The machine was glitchy. The machine doesn't lie, Arthur, the manager retorted, his eyes hard. But you're a hungry man who didn't pay for a snack. It's theft. And lying about it makes it worse. He was fired on the spot. No mention of the 11 years of perfect attendance. No mention of the commendations pinned to his file. He was escorted out like a common criminal. Arthur didn't shout. He didn't plead. He simply gathered his coat and walked out into the cold night air, his dignity the only thing he had left. The next day, Arthur went to his bank. He didn't do it to save his job, he did it to save his name. He printed his transaction history, a small slip of paper that showed the $1.95 deduction from the machine at 2:14 a.m. He returned to Miller Automotive. He didn't ask for a meeting with HR. He walked into the manager's office and placed the bank statement on the desk. The silence in the room was suffocating. As the realization dawned on the manager, his face turned a pale, sickly shade. He began to stammer an apology, then an offer, reinstatement, back pay, an apology from the director. Arthur looked at the manager who had called him a liar without a second's hesitation. He looked at the factory floor, a place that had demanded everything from him and surrendered his honor for the price of a cookie. You're right, Arthur said softly, his voice echoing in the small office. The machine made a mistake. But you made a choice. You chose to stop trusting me the second it was convenient. He turned and walked toward the exit. He didn't look back at the assembly lines or the robotic arms. He walked out into the daylight, a man with his name restored and his integrity intact, finally free from a place that never truly deserved him. The story of Arthur teaches us that integrity is not defined by an organization's recognition, but by one's own adherence to the truth. If you like the story and believe in second chance, like and share the story. Also leave a comment in favor of the man who went through all this. Subscribe to my channel for more of such stories.